everyone, and welcome to episode, oh my gosh, what episode of the What She Podcast is this? What is this, 68? We are almost there. Next episode, be a good one. Episode 68 of the What the She Podcast, where myself and Alana will be discussing, breaking down, and at least for me, I will genuinely be freaking out over Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 10. While this was, I think, probably the shortest episode of the campaign so far.
Definitely.
There was a lot.
There
was a lot that we got in this one.
Jam-packed with productive arc forwarding action. Yeah, but it was a spooky episode too.
It was like this should have been like their Halloween episode. It would have been perfect for one with all of the ghost talk. But before we get into the I guess the super scary stuff kind of starts right away. Almost. Yeah. I was gonna say, before we get into that, let's start from the beginning. But the beginning is pretty much that. So we obviously
sets the theme.
Yeah, we obviously ended last week with a cliffhanger of Chetney bursting through the window of Volley's chambers, and then having to deal with the aftermath of those consequences.
Yeah.
And oh boy, Volley's got an eye. Being able to chase an invisible gnome.
Quite perceptive. And I think they did mention that the rain was making it easier because you get that kind of like outline of
for sure,
like a figure in the rain. But yeah, that was super tense, and it didn't like. I feel like the narrative sense would be like, oh, he escapes in the rain, but like it's D&D, so you roll and it doesn't often go your way. And I think at least in the first half of this episode too, the stealth rolls in general were not good.
No, they were having a rough go at it this episode with those rolls.
And I need to go back and check. I feel like at least with every stealth roll they did, there was at least one natural 20. It was just there was so many other bad rolls associated.
Yep.
But with Chetney trying to escape, and he's just like, there you are. I was like, oh no, that's not good. that's the opposite of what we want. Because then you get this little gnome trying to outrun someone with greater speed than them. It's just not going to happen. The math says no.
And there was a lot, because I know we have some theories about Chetney's.
Like, why didn't he dash? Like, why didn't he just use...
Yeah. I mean... Also, taking that a step further, we have some theories about Chetney and his, if he's actually a rogue or not, or if there's something else going on there.
Well, dash out the door, but he didn't.
Nope. But what I was thinking, it was actually, I think they actually handled the situation pretty well, because they obviously they didn't want to fight, and I think that would have just made things way worse. But Imogen attempting to do the catapult on the ball bearings, which is really cool, by the way.
That's cool.
That was a really cool idea. Unfortunately, not working out too well in their favor. But just trying to talk him down, calm emotions, coming in pretty clutch there.
Yeah, that was really good. And, I liked how it didn't make him like give up the chase. He was still like, come out. I want to talk to you. It's just he didn't hate him anymore. It was more like, I'm still curious, and I'm still, I want to stop you. But,
like what the heck was all that about?
But I'm chill about it.
Yeah, I'm a bit more chilled out. I'm a bit more zen about the whole thing.
I took a second. I took a breath. I remembered what my therapist told me. I'm loving Imogen as the kind of almost the face of the deception of the group. Because she's so quick, and she comes in with really good lies out of nowhere, and it seems almost counter to Imogen as a character. It's almost counter to how she is quite nervous and honest almost, and nice southern girl. Like she's very quick to jump into the deception, which is great because it's using her charisma. But
for sure.
It does remind me a lot of like Ford as the face in Campaign 2, where he was very commanding, and he could easily take control of the situation and like act a bit like a boss. But outside of that, he was, happy to follow lead and a bit insecure and all these other traits. So I love this kind of concept of Imogen is able to act and deceive when she needs to, but more internally she's quite a timid, shy character. But it's just so good when she jumps into it. She's just like so convincing with the choices she makes. And this was a great one. This one set the theme for the entire episode.
It really did. And Laudna coming in to really set that tone. But what was funny was, I don't know if you were watching Travis's reaction to whenever Marisha was like describing. Oh yes, of course. When there's anything ever remotely scary that appears in the game, you always just got to keep an eye on Travis because his reactions are always so funny.
And it makes sense. Yeah, like we need to. Oh, I hear this ghost, and it's just like, hey, Laudna, you're up, sort of thing. But he was also playing into it too, because Chetney was saying like, I died in there.
Yeah.
Be free, like trying to play if it was a ghost. A ghost that broke the window.
But I wonder. This is jumping ahead a little bit. I know we never do that. We never jump ahead in this podcast. Just this once, we'll let it slide. Something a guard said later in the episode. I don't know if this was just Matt trolling or if this might actually be something. If he was like actually working off of like this ghost story that they were building.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, well, what if there actually is like legends or rumors of this place being haunted? Because then when they talked to a guard, when they all came back, the guard was like, yeah, there was like a massacre here 35 years ago. And legends say like the souls are trapped in here. That could be either what Matt had planned or just what he thought of to go off of, what was already happening.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I thought that was really cool because it does sound kind of just like that rumor ghost story that you hear of like places. But I mean, it's D&D, and we know for a fact that there's some creepy shit happening in this building. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some truth to that story as well.
Right.
But I think that same guard also said, like, how did he break a window? Like, how did
wait a minute.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ghosts can do crazy things, man.
But it kind of, not so much deflated's not the right word, but it kind of made Varley very unintimidating. That's not the word I wanted, but it made him a lot more, less scary as it progressed, because they eventually find out it was a ceremonial sword. It was.
I mean, because at the end of the day, I think he's just like a business communicator. He's just like someone who probably like connects different parties to each other and manages like trade routes. So I mean, he's probably not some crazy, ridiculous, powerful individual.
It seems in my head, I was like, oh, he's got the creepy letter and he's talking to the person. Like, oh, this guy's evil. I can't wait for them to destroy him.
And I mean, he probably is a pretty bad fellow.
Sounds like it, yeah.
This might not necessarily be the fighter type. He leaves that to the scientist below.
Yeah.
In the hidden chamber, whoever the heck that is. We'll get to that character when we get there, because that's a whole thing. That was a whole thing that happened.
That was a thing. Yep.
But no, they were able to successfully evade capture and further investigation. Volley. Did Volley just end up like running away? He ended up running away. Yeah,
because Lorna came out in the terrifying. Oh no, was that when she made the wall jump out? There was a lot of apparitions.
There was a lot.
I can't remember if this was the wall reaching out to grab him or if this was just her stepping out in her terrifying image. There was a lot of words going on in his head as well. So it's fair to this man that he decided to flee. I did love the him dropping the sword and like, oh, we can give that back to him later as like our way in later. And Fern's just like, yes, we'll give it back to him later. Like,
yes, for sure. We'll give all of his possessions back. Where is she keeping all of these things? I know that's like that funny thing of like fantasy D&D RPGs. Like you have so many things in your inventory and you just whip them out whenever you need them. You got to keep the aesthetics. You don't want to have the show inventory.
Backpack on your back.
Yeah. Who wants that on them? No, it ruins the vibe. But no, it's great. But then they eventually brought up once things settled and they left this space. They had to break off into smaller groups.
Split the party.
Split the party. Always, the number one rule that you don't do. But in this case, I think it works out because we had the group, the date for Pretty, and I'm so glad that they didn't just totally blow that off because I would have been beside myself. I would not have been okay if they had missed that.
Could tell, you know that Matt would have made it dreadful.
Oh yeah.
They missed it.
Oh yeah.
Because he made it so beautiful when they did go there, and we'll talk about when we get to it. But just the fact that there was like a bet going on, and how sweet it was. If they didn't make it to that date, it would have cursed them. They would have been haunted by that choice.
Yes.
And I was so worried because at one point too, I think FCG was like, "Do we really have to go?" Again, playing into the character of he'd never seen a date before, but at the same time, is this the most pressing thing? And I think even maybe Dorian was agreeing, is this the most pressing thing we have to do right now? And I'm screaming at my screen, going, "Yes, yes, it is. You have to." Yeah. Should we talk about the date first?
Yes, I think we'll go. Yes, we'll start with the date, and then we'll just work our way through it. Because not too much happened with the tower group. They kind of just scattered the area out. Nothing too crazy happened.
They did, yeah.
So yes,
we'll talk about them first because they were.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure. The gag of Chetney coming up in the cable car, lying dead.
Oh yeah.
And no one's there to see him.
Yeah. Oh, because then there was a comment that I think Chetney had made, because we love meta jokes and stuff. How I think Chetney made some comment to Dorian, who was what's wrong? Did you lose someone? You sound like you lost someone that was you're filled with guilt or something.
Yeah. And then he says well, I'm going off on my own now. I hope I don't die.
I hope
somewhere.
Yeah.
What a troll.
It's so good. But then
he's
pretending
so
to be dead.
But it's you can't trust him. It's
no.
Because I feel like he's that type that pounces on weakness. In the sense of not to be mean or not to be
of course not.
But it is more a mechanism to protect himself of if he sees someone, getting grassed on, he's gonna add to the fire, and Dorian was the easy target for him. But we did get the very kind of sweet scene with him and Dorian of, oh yes, you must have had friends before, and she's like, friends?
Friends? Oh yeah, that moment was so sweet.
You have friends. I do, and holding hands.
Oh yeah, the hand on the shoulder, and then the little
tiny hand,
the little gnome hand.
Oh, it was very sweet. But we didn't really learn too much outside of just a sweet moment. I'm trying to think if there was any tells in that scene of
I don't think so. It was just more. I don't think it was in a scene coming up, but again, it's because Travis didn't do this with Ford, and no one ever specifies this really when they roll perception checks. But whenever Chetney rolls for perception, he's always like, "Do I see anything? Do I hear anything? Do I smell anything?" Why? Why smell, Travis?
Why?
What's going on there?
Oh,
but no, it just lends to the theory that Chetney isn't what he seems to be. So only time's gonna tell in that regard. But going back a little bit, because Matt had Fern roll a history check about the Nightmare King. Going back a little bit, so I guess that tells us that the Nightmare King is Fae from the Feywild, or surrounding that.
Click on that at all. That was.
Oh yeah.
It feels kind of obvious, but it was still a surprise when it happened. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Someone called the Nightmare King is from the Fey realm. But that's cool. It's cool that it's a story or a what's the word? A legend from the Feywild manifesting here in the material plane for whatever reason, or whether it could just be someone taking the name of the legend. We don't know, but sounds pretty fun. sounds pretty fucked up.
Yeah, but I mean, what Matt had described it as, it's like a tale of a figure that bent and twisted things for fun.
Mm.
So it's
like
similar, but it's very
traveler.
Fey. Like, it's very Fey.
Yeah.
Because I thought of the Traveler, because the Traveler did the same thing,
Yeah.
where he would just sow chaos just for the heck of it.
Mm.
But not in like a malicious manner. It was a very
Yeah.
just, keeping people humble is what it was. But this seems to be more in the realm of nightmares, in the realm of
Yes.
like malicious intent and such,
It's like
which is a bad combination.
It's like the unseelie version of the Seelie Traveler, which
Yeah.
like just ooh, yeah, no, that's a scary thought of like an evil traveler. Or like evil's a hard word because you can't really assign evil and lawful to the Feywild, but like
Right. Yeah.
a nightmarish traveler,
Mm-hmm.
so to say. It is, yeah, it's cool that it is Feywild because I hope we get more Feywild stuff in this campaign in general. I'd love
Yeah.
for them to travel to the Feywild. They didn't in campaign 2 at all, did they? They didn't make it to the Feywild.
I don't think they did. I mean, the Traveler, I think, talked about maybe going to the Feywild with
Yeah.
Jester.
It's close for a while. I think it was like during the Moonweaver stuff. Like I think Matt maybe said an option would be for them to go to the Feywild, like disappear to the Feywild.
Yeah.
But it's exciting to think that there is kind of like a bit of more of a pool in this campaign already for them to potentially go there because that place is awesome and terrifying.
It is. There's a lot of potential for crazy stuff, and I think we definitely will, because Fern is directly tied to the Feywild, and we already got like a teaser of that in EXU. I can only imagine that will be expanded on. I wonder if any of the new people in the party are gonna mention her hand, her corrupted hand. Yeah. I wonder if anyone's gonna.
It's a bit sus. Like,
it is a bit sus.
I guess it's also, not drawing attention to people's appearances.
True.
Just being polite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm hoping that's where it's heading. But also it's really scary because just the description. And I loved Ashley kind of rolling with it too. Like she was adding to it, like saying, yes, he would sneak into your dreams and make them just awful. And Matt's just like, okay, yeah. Like, yeah, I'll allow it, sort of thing. But I guess that's like the freedom with talking about legends in D&D, because you can be like, oh yeah, this is what I heard about this particular thing. Might not be true, but this is what I heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really cool play on that.
And if the Nightmare King is Fey, or at the very least Fey adjacent, then we can assume that whatever that thing was in the basement is also potentially Fey as well. They seemed very esoteric in nature, and again, I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to like D&D races and monsters, so I don't know if the reveal of that being in the basement is actually something. Well,
do we?
I don't know.
We're jumping ahead. But
oh yeah.
Do we think that's we can assume that's Ira?
Yes.
Can we assume it's maybe the Nightmare King as well? Like, because the only mention of Nightmare King has been from the letter. It's not like Valley gave a separate name to them.
True, but Valley did say something about like their patron.
Their patron. Excuse me.
So that's what I think the Nightmare King.
I'm still kind of on board with the patron being someone in the Shande Quorum.
In the Quorum.
Yeah.
That could be it as well. Definitely.
And they've employed like this Fae to sow chaos. Ooh, they've employed this Fae to sow chaos in the city, so that the Shande Quorum can bring the Ivory Syndicate back in to get rid of Corsairs and maintain control, which sounds like a real like dumb plan. Like, let's bring in this entity.
That's great.
Or it could be more a more evil plan. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of it just being a regular person being the patron. Because I'm trying to remember what the letter said about the Nightmare King. It was just like Gurge was delivered at the behest of the Nightmare King, or something along those lines, right? And now we're seeing Gurge being experimented on by Ira, by this creature. So that's just where I kind of put it together. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is the night making. But
could be, yeah.
But
it'd be cool if it was like a big,
yeah. But yes. Anyway, back.
Anyways,
to the story.
Getting back on track. The date with Pretty, and it was everything. It was everything that I hoped it would be.
First, before the date.
Oh yes.
They tried to find a present for Pretty, some flowers.
They did.
And they managed to procure trash, straight up trash.
Yeah. Yeah. The natural ones this episode were really great.
It wouldn't have been as bad, I don't think, if he hadn't have given like really sweet gifts.
I know. Well, I mean, they were just random vegetables.
There's something sweet about it.
Yes,
though.
yes.
There's one
very charming.
His weren't rotten with maggots in it. So,
yeah.
There's a bonus there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, gosh, just Matt describing them entering and him sitting there like with a little bow tie on.
I know. Oh, it was so cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty.
But then, like, again, like we were saying earlier, like the bets that were being placed.
Yeah, that even though it was like a positive thing, I guess, him saying like "told you so" really upset me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, bastards! Like,
were they putting you down? Were they?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. But yeah, it was nice to see he got some vindication.
Oh yes.
But that was the moment too where it was like, if they hadn't have turned up, like that's it. I'm over them.
Yep. Yep. Restart campaign 3 from the beginning. This is the worst timeline.
100%. So yeah, no, it was just real sweet, and it was obviously meant to be played up as really sweet. And just a really fun, positive role play. I don't think it could have gone too bad unless they like directly insulted him to his face or pulled some kind of shenanigans. But yeah, it was just a real sweet scene.
It was.
He was really, like, really sweet and really surprising towards the end. Like,
yeah, because then they went to the theater after they had a nice little dinner, and
they had the same dinner.
The same dinner that they had only a few hours ago. But yeah, I love how Matt then like made him like a purveyor of like the arts.
Arts and literature, yeah, like
literature.
I thought for a moment it was him just like, you know, trying to sound kind of like fancy, but like he got into it. Like he was like, I'm going to return to my favorite novel. Like,
I wish that they asked what the novel was.
I can only imagine.
Is that I think Matt was setting up for some kind of like a funny like Easter egg drop with that, because he specifically mentioned he's going to go back to his favorite novel.
Yes.
Because I wanted it to be Tusk Love so badly.
See, I was thinking it was going to be another Darrington Brigade drop. Because I'm still on board with this being Buddy.
Child. Oh.
Yeah.
That would have been good. Oh, because then it could have been like, oh, what's your favorite novel? Oh, it's this storybook about my dad. The daring trials and tribulations of Darrington. Oh my god, that would have been so good, but they didn't ask. Yeah. I'm so sad.
This is why we need the after show back, so that there's like questions for Matt and the cast. Is like, what is Pretty's
What was the book? What was the book, Matthew?
The book. The book's the new chair. What was the book?
Yeah.
It was the book of the Somnovum.
Oh shit!
Until he says otherwise, it could be.
Did they not check him for eyes?
Oh my god! He's the Nonagon. You heard it here first. Pretty
Pretty
is the new Nonagon.
Pretty is the Nightmare King.
But
then
and also a werewolf. Moving on.
And also a werewolf. But anyways, I thought it was a really funny, then like, twist, if you will, of like Pretty being the one to like let them down.
Yeah.
And like friend zone them, if you will. I just thought that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great. Just the Yeah, essentially the "it's not you, it's me."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
not, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even really that because there wasn't any problem. It wasn't a problem. There was just no spark.
right, yeah. And
He's like
sometimes that's just how
perfectly
it is.
amicable. Yeah, and the fact that he was like so clear and open about it was like wonderful. You love to see it. You love to see like he didn't be like, "All right, I'll see you next week," and then ghosted them or anything. Um,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I could see them doing to him. So
Mm.
it was
Like,
really
yep,
nice to be
same time
like
next week. Yeah,
essentially Matt giving them an out from this
Yes.
scenario they found themselves in.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
uh, but yeah, it was beautiful, and it just like it added more to that character of his sophistication and
Hmm.
his like emotional sophistication as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there are many layers to Pretty the Ogre. There is
too many.
much to learn. Much to learn.
And we need to find out his favorite fucking book.
And that is the only thing I will care about for the rest of the campaign.
Let's
Is
get a
what
tweet
Pretty's favorite
chain
novel
going
is.
of asking Pretty's favorite novel, and maybe Matt will see it and respond.
Oh, yes. I actually, but speaking of that talk show, I wonder when that's coming.
Mm,
I mean, they said sometime
yeah,
2022. So I mean, hey, 2022's arrived. I guess we'll have
yeah.
to wait and see.
I feel like maybe COVID's probably like still mucking
Oh
it up a
yeah, for
little bit
sure,
and
for
that
sure.
sort of thing. Um, maybe in February, like they're getting Fox Machina out of the way. They're getting the one shot out of the way. So maybe February, March, we might see that come up.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see the format of it and how it's going to
Hmm.
run because obviously the live shows were great because you could have questions of the most recent episode. And
Yeah.
now that they're filming in
Hmm.
advance, it's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate questions.
Yeah, because before I think it was just like Brian that had, or like I guess Brian and Danny and whoever else that like curated questions to ask or like different
Yeah,
like talking points
but
to go
they were
over.
also like within the same week. So now
Yeah.
that they're filming one, two, maybe three episodes ahead, it's going to be hard for them to answer questions of something they filmed 3 sessions ago. So
Right. Right.
yeah, so I'm not certain there'll be like a audience element to it again. It'll be more of
Hmm.
a deep dive breakdown of
Which
themselves.
kind of
But,
stinks, but it is the
yeah,
nature of how they have to evolve their show
Hmm.
moving forward. So
Yeah.
I guess it is.
It's fine. Send
It
all
is
your
what it
questions
is.
to us, and
Yeah.
we'll answer
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
behalf of the cast.
Yes, and we will be
Um,
100% lore accurate.
always. We've got our own lore
I.
master. We've got
Oh yeah.
Adam's like killing it in chat all the time,
Oh
and
exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, we essentially know all the nuances and all the
Of
backstories
course.
of all
I
the
mean, as
characters,
we've said
and
before, we get a little sneak peek into the writers' room of Critical Role. I know I'm
100%.
breaching my NDA contract by saying that, but hey,
Okay, they're gonna get
it's
you. They're gonna get you.
okay. They don't watch the stream. Um. Oh God. Well, it was yesterday. Going off topic a little bit. Yesterday, when I was doing the alphabet thing, I was like, "This will be the stream that they just happen to watch of me making the
I've
alphabet."
been hearing some good things about this Nico
Yeah.
Nielsen and the work they've been doing with Critical Role fandom. I'm gonna check them out and see
Yeah.
what they're all about. What the
And
fuck is this?
it's the point where I'm doing the W, the letter W, where I'm laid down.
Your legs
Yeah.
laid out. Oh my
Anyways,
god.
if you're wanting to know what I'm talking about, go to my second channel, Nico Nielsen VODs, and look at the most recent upload from last night's stream. Anyways, moving on, back on topic.
Yeah.
The date concluded, and I think it's time to shift focus over to Ashton. We got a lot of Ashton stuff this episode. A lot.
I wasn't expecting it. I was probably a little bit too like when Ashton got like I like Ashton a lot. I think he gets kind of a little bit piled on by
Yeah.
some of the community for
Mm-hmm.
being a bit brash and a bit like what's the word secretive, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like that. It kind of plays in with the character he has. So a little bit when he was going off by himself, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be like, another contact, and it's just going to be more wordplay, nothing's
Yeah.
going to be being said.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff. But going back to your comment about like people maybe not a lot of people, but like a minority of people not like liking
Yeah.
Ashton for their attitude and all that stuff. when we just came off of campaign 2 and we had Bo.
Yeah. Well,
obviously,
a lot of people didn't like.
True.
Bo
Also true. Also very true.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning,
Yeah.
but like the point that I was trying to make is like, they should be used to those kind of characters now,
100%,
and should just like understand that,
I mean,
that's just how they are.
For a lot of it too, like Ashton's been kind of the savvy one of, he doesn't directly trust Lord Esteros. Is very cautious about all the things they do that is within inside of the city, which it's makes sense for the character. It's it might not be super friendly and open, but it makes super sense for the character. And
yeah,
I think we get to see more. I still feel on this theory that Ashton is young. Like, we've not got given an age, but he feels quite young. He might not be, but I get like a real kind of not teenage, but early 20s kind of vibe from this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of plays into that idea of a street kid, as we learn this episode, a street kid.
Yeah. Well,
grew up in a home. Well, yeah, street kid in the sense of.
Because that's I mean, there's so much to talk about here, but we can slowly break it down. So the estate that he went to was the estate of none other than J.H., a Gianna Exum.
Exum, yeah, that was real cool. That was, I guess it makes sense. I don't know why it was felt unexpected when it happened, but it makes a lot of sense. Because right from the start, I think Ashton said when they heard about the JH on the crate, was like, oh, I've got some ideas, like I've got a feeling. And then it does play out that way too, because we see at the front of her house, she has like these stone golems or like these statues that, seem to move and follow. So she's got this kind of enchanted statue theme going already. So the fact that she was ordering a stone golem, it's like, checks out.
Yeah, the facts are lining up.
Yeah.
But we got a few little tidbits that eventually got explained later, that he owes a great debt to her. He's done many jobs for her, working off this debt. A new job involving a lot of complicated rich people stuff, rich people shenanigans. So we can break that down a little bit. So essentially, what we understand is there's some business competitor named where's my notes on that guy? Ivan Hytroga?
Yeah.
Ivan Hytroga, who boasts about his maximum security estate and how no one can break in.
Mirror museum.
Yeah, and then Gianna was like, oh, well, challenge accepted. And I guess they started a bet with also another individual named Isha Sabonis.
Yeah.
And
the way I picked up on it was, it's like, rich people circles of...
Oh, yeah.
Gianna was robbed. They made fun of her for it. And he's like, well, ha ha ha, that would never happen to me. Like, and they're like, oh, really? Sort of thing. So it's setting up this kind of almost quasi-competition of, well, if you think you can beat my security systems, go for it. Like, you have my permission to try. And this other NPC now, Isha Sabonis, is also involved with her own team, which I'm excited for, because I love team versus team stuff in D&D. Yeah. Especially because you then get to be introduced to a whole range of new characters, new NPCs that are just going to be delightful, and potentially Easter egg-ish. We don't know, but there's always the potential.
Because what if? Oh wow! What if? Because now I'm thinking of a couple different things. Yeah. What if? It's like a Darrington Brigade that gets hired by Isha, or now the stubborn stock wouldn't be down here, but this other group that gets hired by Isha could end up being like the stubborn stock of this campaign, where they it's a semi-reoccurring group that they hear about. Yeah.
Or it could be the Nobodies. It could be Ashton's old group.
Oh. Yeah.
Which I think could be like a real kind of nice tie in more to Ashton's story, because Ashton was saying like, yeah, they left me, I'm fine, it makes sense. That's still
Yeah.
gonna hurt. Like, that's still gonna suck.
Right, yeah.
I'd love to see that come more to the forefront of like they're actually not okay with that. They are actually quite hurt by that. Because I'd love to see, just give me Taliesin like acting.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, like, because I guess with Caduceus we didn't see it too much. With Molly we got more like anger and outbursts.
Right.
But when we had Percy, like Percy's kind of emotional outbursts and like just. No, he wasn't a dramatic bitch or anything, but like he had like really good long moments of quite intense emotion. So I want to see that again. I want to see more of that. And I think we can get. I hope we can get it with Ashton because he plays it so damn cool. He plays it so damn like in control, and you know it's fine, whatever. Like who cares? Fuck this and all this kind of bullshit. So it's nice to see them crack a little bit.
No, it's Jesus. It is true though. It is true. And I guess we don't know the full extent of their relationship with the rest of the nobodies, but we do know. So I guess my question is because it's jumping up a little bit because of some information that Ashton then revealed to the rest of the party. Is that he grew up on a place called the Greymore
House?
Yeah, the Greymore House.
Oh, the House of Greymore?
The House of Greymore. It was something like that.
In Viserys?
Greymore State Home is what it was. The Greymore State Home.
Which is where
is that like an orphanage?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of picked up. It sounds like an orphanage, or like even just like a boarding house for orphans. Stayed home feels that, but seemingly now where they get their name from. But again, we don't know. They could be, just the kid of the owners of.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Because that goes back to my other theory about like what if Ashton is a similar story of like Cyrus where he wanted to, or of like Dorian where he wanted to leave the family, the rich family, and be a rebel and stuff. Go against the grain of the family. But it is interesting. Because if it is, because that's where he met the rest of the nobodies. They formed sort of a gang, and then they skipped town and came to Drusar to start a new life for themselves as the nobodies.
Didn't go well.
Didn't go well, and that's how we learned that Ashton got his injury, or their head injury.
Bump in the noggin.
Yeah, a little rough. A little rough and tumble.
And because I guess we're getting the sense that, and I might need to rewatch the first episode with Ashton's introduction, but Ashton we're assuming has like a hard body or like a gem, at least some kind of geological flesh. Ugh.
Yeah.
God, didn't like it when I said it. So seemingly being able to be repaired with geological processes.
Yeah.
Which is cool and also weird to think about because I feel like if you're walking, it's going to be like constant scraping noises. But I don't know how that works. But yeah, no, it was cool. Them talking about them falling from the building and breaking. My first thought was Buzz Lightyear falling from the.
Oh no!
I can fly.
Jeez. Yep. Not this time.
But yeah, I like the idea of them being repaired with the gold and the slag glass. With shout out to Kiralee. Kiralee called that like in the first episode, saying, "I reckon that's slag glass in Ashton's head," and straight up slag glass.
Yeah.
But as Felice says in chat, suggesting that Milo used some weird chaos fairy magic bullshit to fix them.
Yeah.
Which would have been fine, except for the fairy part. Like, I don't understand that, because we get the sense that Milo's budding, what's it called? What's the class? What's the class?
Artificer?
What's the thing? Artificer, yeah. We get the sense that Milo's a bit of an artificer, a bit of a tinkerer, but I don't understand the fairy part of that description.
Yeah.
It could just be Ashton being Ashton, but it felt deliberate, the way, like, describing the magic in that way. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know enough about
because Milo was described as human.
I think
right?
so. Yeah. Yes.
Can't remember. But obviously, so far this campaign seems to be pretty decently Fae influenced. There's been a lot of Fae themes popping up here and there.
Human.
Or
yeah.
human? Okay.
Milo Crook, living in the Crook house. Huh.
Oh.
Crook and Crook.
Do
these kids just take the names from the house they grew up in?
Well,
Oh, there you go.
guess so.
Good for them.
But it is interesting if maybe Milo has their own Fae magic that they have, or they struck a deal with someone who does have one, or they know someone who knows someone that has access to that kind of magic.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it is some weird, because then here's the thing with Fae, they're all about, not all about, but you know, they sow chaos, they have some fun, pretty morally gray compass. What if this is like another prank of some sort, like this weird Fae magic that now fills Ashton? Like, what if somewhere down the line something happens where it backfires, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Fae magic tends to be a bit funky.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's just cool. It was cool to get that confirmation of character detail. It was nice to, like, because there was the minor theory we had too that maybe Ashton didn't know who they were.
Right.
Like some kind of seemingly amnesia accident. Not an amnesia accident. Amnesia is a result of an accident. What would an amnesia accident look like? I wonder.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, we know that Ashton didn't have amnesia, has a history that has led them to this point, which I think's really cool. I really like Gianna. I think she's a really cool NPC. I like the idea that she's an old elf. I go wild for old elves. I think they're the coolest thing. So the fact that she's, like, you know, clearly an older elf who has connections, is rich, is doing, I saw somebody in chat mention rat race. It's real rat race stuff that's happening here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She has her finger on the pulse a little bit. She's a little bit like Lord Esteros in the sense that, like, she knows what's happening in the city a bit. And you get a judge of her character in the sense of, I mean, Ashton tried to steal from her and she was like, well, I'm not going to turn you in or anything, but I'm going to get you to work for me. But then on the other side of things, it's like, hey, this person stole from me. I'm going to hunt them down until I get it back. And even when presented by someone she seemingly trusts saying, hey, this might not be the case, she's like, prove it to me. So I get real kind of, just, you know, old aristocrat with more leaning towards neutral morals, I guess.
Yeah.
But I liked Ashton's respect for her. I thought that was really cool. Like saying, I don't lie to this person. I tell them as it is. And I get the same back. I fully trust this person.
Yeah.
I thought that was real cool. I like it's an interesting NPC because it's like, I'm not sure if I'm meant to like them too much, but I do.
Right. And you can definitely tell there's maybe not on the surface, but deeper down there seems to be some level of respect, like, for each other.
100%.
Because this is the first time we've seen Ashton interact with someone in this manner.
Politely.
Yeah, politely, yeah. But I also like how, even though they appear to be loyal towards Gianna, I do like how they were still trying to take focus away from Cyrus as being the one at fault, and just, like, just poking that a little bit, being like, I think you're on the wrong track. You got the wrong guy.
And she specifically didn't push further because it was obvious like he had information, but this wasn't his job, so it wasn't so much like, well, tell me what you know, like,
right?
Because it's like, I've hired, this is not my job. This is just something I want figured out. So I've hired people to take care of this. If it's important, they'll figure it out, sort of thing. But yeah, that was a nice touch. Him not, I don't think he would purposefully sell out Dorian and Cyrus.
No.
But it was possibility if you're going in there saying, hey, I think you've got the wrong person, and they're like, why?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she didn't ask why. She's just like, all right, well, if you can prove it, sure, but for now, yeah.
Yeah, but that's more or less all we got from
Mm.
that conversation.
Yeah.
New job, little Ashton backstory, but now there's the whole potential of learning more about this strange fey magic that seems to have not corrupted them, but inspired this unique magical capability that they're able to now use.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if they had their chaos barbarian magic prior to this incident.
Mm-hmm.
That's not clear yet. So that'll be interesting to find out. And it's exciting too that they have a job offer outside of the city. They can potentially travel to
Yeah.
Hartmore,
Mm-hmm.
which is maybe, I don't know, a couple days, a week or so away. So we've got travel episodes, maybe.
Yeah, so now I'm like, because while we have been getting some pretty big, like main story arc-esque things happening, with all of these still like side quests that are popping up, like this estate heist. There's still Oshad Breshio that they can talk to.
Oh, God.
And now there's still
I didn't even think of him this episode.
yeah, I know. It's like Oshad who? Like there's more, there's bigger things to worry about now. But depending on how next episode goes, because of how this one ended, if things go well, I mean this could just be the end of that arc, of the Nightmare King arc, if they're able to defeat this person, or I don't know what's gonna happen, but this could also just be like a side quest arc. This strange Volley and Nightmare King and all this random stuff, or it could still just be like the building blocks of a greater overarching story that Matt's working on.
100%.
I'm leaning more towards that.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising for Matt to set things up so early in the campaign, and
right, yeah.
we've talked about like how Duggar. I feel like Duggar's still out there. I don't want to say out there; it makes me sound
Yeah.
like, but it's. I feel like Duggar is still a threat in the sense that they might be related to what's been happening here, whether this creature is doing experiments on creatures, and Duggar was just a result of that. There's still some shady stuff happening within the spires, like all the shade creepers, all the shade creepers.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things happening with that. So I do like the idea that it is kind of an overarching arc that is potentially setting for something up later. But again, it could also just be, hey, this is a neat little mini boss I've thrown in for you guys. Yeah, there's a lot of potential.
I'm definitely. Have you seen? I guess I'll save that for when we get to that part. But once all the groups were finished with their various activities and goals, they all reconvened once again at the tavern to go over the different things they went through. They talked about the date. They talked about scouting out the tower. And this is when Ashton did their big lore dump about the nobodies, where they came from, how they got their injury, the repair with Milo. Dumped it all. And bringing up the idea of this job. And it seems like they're all pretty on board, because this would be a good way to gain the favor of Gianna and potentially removing the bounty on Cyrus's head. But she also implied, and Ashton also implied this as well, that if they are somehow able to get proof that Cyrus wasn't the one who took it, then she would have no problem with shifting the blame towards someone else. It's just Cyrus is just the best lead that she has, and so
what if it comes to pass that it was this Ish Sabanis's crew that had stolen from her, and they go to this place and this crew's walking around with like a stone golem or something. Like,
interesting.
I feel like it'd be a hard thing to hide, but I feel like this is rich people bullshit.
Yeah, that could make sense. That could be Matt's way of trying to tie up that mini storyline. there's a bunch of different little minor stories happening in the background and such. So that could actually be a pretty interesting way. Yeah, like you said, more rich people being rich people, and us the pawns in their little game. But it did seem like they were keen on doing a heist. And I love a good heist. So that'll be a lot of fun whenever they're able to get to that. Seems like they have a lot on their plate so far already. And Matt kind of like knew that as well, because like Gianna's saying, like, yeah, don't take too long, but just let me know when you're ready, and we can head over. So yeah, they got a lot to deal with, but they decide to go back to the tower because Chetney has been very adamant on getting back down into that basement, seeing if Gurge is down there.
Yes, must get to Gurge.
Yeah. But arriving back in the tower, obviously security is very heavy in the area after a break-in in one of the towers, and the horror theme continues in this scene multiple times. Because I think the first one was when they were talking to one of the guards, and this was the one where it came out of the wall.
Yeah, they failed their stealth, and
more bad stealth rolls. Yep.
Yep, and I think this was before they even climbed the wall, but it was just like, they were immediately spotted by a guard, and it wasn't in anything accusatory. It's just like, hey, like, you guys should probably leave.
Yeah.
Like, they fucked up with so many guards this session. The poor mines. I couldn't cope. I wouldn't be able to cope with that sort of thing.
Oh, heck no. Nope. I would have been passed out like that one guard too. I would not have been okay.
That was great. That one where, like, it was, because that was after they got over the wall.
Yeah, they were over the wall.
And they again failed their stealth check, and so this man was coming towards them, and the flower girl, and then the running, and
one of them was like jawless or something.
Yeah, so I think the flower girl, she had like her hair down in front of her face, and when she looked at it, it was just like a gaping hole in her mouth. And
God.
And then lunging at, like, Lorna with minor image is dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they successfully got in without sneaking. Really, they had 2 encounters with guards and still managed to make it in. So it's pretty impressive. I like them. I love utility magic. So it was really cool to see it get played out a little bit.
Very, very underrated. Those minor illusions, silent image, these low-level spells that have a lot of flexibility and utility. And it's working out, and it totally fits the theme of Laudna and all of this horror
100%.
stuff surrounding her. But like you said, they made it in. The desk now booby trapped and such, but not a problem for Jetney and their woodworking tools, making a hole in the drawer to press the button once again. And then I love, because Travis, we already know Travis is the player who's mentioned many times before how he loves to push buttons. He loves to prod the bowl, if you will. It makes for an interesting story. It makes for interesting character moments. It helps further the narrative in interesting ways. So Chetney being like a huge advocate for pursuing whatever individuals are in the basement was really good. But again, in this scene, do I see anything? Do I hear anything? Do I smell anything? Chetney, what do you mean by that, though?
It's just, we haven't had any definitive kind of rogue aspect from this guy, or like, because it could just be a werewolf rogue. All right, base theory.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
There's been nothing to suggest other than characteristics, which any class could really have. There's been nothing to fully cement Chetney as a rogue. Like, their dex is low. They've not done any unique rogue abilities. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, chat. I love to be corrected when I'm wrong.
Oh, yes.
But, no, but seriously, do correct me if I'm wrong. But we've not seen any specific rogue abilities. We've seen like
True.
they can turn invisible, or they have like what, a +4 to their sneak, like at level, what are they, level 4 or are they level 5 now? I don't remember. Level 4, right?
They're level 4, yes.
Like a +4 to this, it should be higher than that. Now they could be playing a rogue
Wait,
that is.
oh, you can keep going, but the stream is hurting a bit for some reason.
God, if it stops, I just said something amazing. If it's just coming back in now, I just blew this whole case wide open.
Ow. We're back.
But yes,
sort of.
Genie's pool is saying it much better than I am. All his rogue stuff appears to be from magic items, so. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense why we've got all this rogue stuff not showing any kind of actual rogue abilities. We've got, and we said it already in this episode, Travis is a troll, so it could just be him completely trolling the community, but it feels too right. I feel like he's going to paint us for fools.
Oh yeah.
But it sets it up too nicely for him to be like a werewolf, for him to possibly be a blood hunter, like Order of the Lycan. Maybe like. There was a moment earlier in the episode, and I made a GIF of it, and it was them talking. I can't actually remember now what they're talking about. I was too distracted by this conversation. But Dorian made a throwaway comment, like it's a euphemism. I can't say that word. Euphemism. He said something along the lines of wolves in the night. Like,
yes.
We're talking about wolves in the night. And Travis was writing in his book, and he looks up and he goes, "Wolves in the night," and Dory's like, "Yeah, sure. Like, it's just a saying." He's like, and then goes back to his book. I swear to God. I swear to God.
I wrote that down too.
If he's fucking with us,
but with Travis, like it's 50-50. It feels like.
That's it.
At this
point, so well set up and so obvious, but then you're like, it's like, this is too obvious. Wait a second, this guy is tricking us, and I want to be excited and theorize it, but I'm also like, I need to have like a content warning of, I know that I'm probably wrong on this.
Yeah.
Like, don't at me.
Yeah.
No, I'm 100% on board this train, and I will cop it if it's wrong.
I will own up to it. There's just too many things that are lining up that really help that theory out. So.
And I will say, if you're interested in that theory, you should check out our Discord, because we've shared. I'm trying to find the name of the lovely person on Reddit who posted it. There's a really well written breakdown of why Chetney is a werewolf, and it's brilliant. Like, because we're kind of feeling it for a while, but then it was by Siegfried, I think, but it's Syegfried. I'm gonna post it in the chat. It's a real good read if you're interested in following this theory with us. My word. I can't. I'm too excited.
When I first read it, I was like, this has to be it. This has to be everything.
Yeah, you sent me, because this user has made 2 posts now about it. And you sent me the first one, and I was just like, I can't with this guy. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, if this is accurate, I'm going to be. It'd be the biggest twist. It'd be the big. Well, it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Right. Exactly. It's just something that has to happen.
We need to move on, because I will go on.
But yeah, I was gonna say. But anyways, Chetney descending the staircase once again. And it seems like Ira, whoever this individual is experimenting on some weird electrical blue stones. Whatever the heck they are. But it was also revealed that Gurge is, in fact, down in this holding area, this basement.
We know that Gurge is a dwarf, correct?
I don't know if that's been confirmed. Maybe.
I feel like maybe I'm getting Gurge and like Durga mixed up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, maybe we don't know.
Yeah, we also just might not know.
Okay, I just assumed dwarf for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
But I was getting, and this was gonna say, I don't know if you've seen Arcane, the show on Netflix, if anyone else has, but the blue crystals were reminding me of the hex gems from Arcane, and this scientist individual Ira was reminding me of Singed, also from Arcane. But I wonder what the heck is up with these blue crystals.
It was like strong Frankenstein vibes to begin with.
Yeah.
But also what they were saying of like sharing your gift, like
Yes.
that's concerning.
That is.
Because that feels like, you know, werewolf plague a bit.
Right.
But the fact that we also know that this character wants people brought to them, and like they mentioned at one point, like, bring me a Mahan child, like they want these people brought to them, whether to, I don't know, just experiment on them, or we think there's more people in this room as well because we noticed cages were surrounding the room.
Yeah.
This could be like a real kind of like, I say Frankenstein, but now thinking more of it's more of like a Dr. Moreau kind of thing of like experiments on creatures and on, I mean, not that Gurge is a creature, Gurge is a person.
Yeah.
Gurge is a person, but like experiments on living things, and it's almost kind of too, and I saw someone mention this in another Discord that I sometimes visit, Lubofin mentioned simic hybrids from Eberron are kind of like this, like where you like they're doing experiments and creating with creatures and things like that. So yeah, I'm getting a real strong Frankenstein Moreau vibe from this fucking terrifying and off-putting NPC. Like, ooh.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. The entire design of this character, 8 feet tall, skinny, long legs, arms, fingers, the whole ordeal, bald, no nose, super long ears, full green eyes, massive eyes, no jack-o'-lantern smile.
I mean, it's full, like, if you see a Nightmare King, that kind of fits.
I would have nightmares, yeah.
The fact that, like, Matt described him as, like, kind of like an Ichabod Crane-esque from the Disney film, and also a bit of, like, Jack Skellington. It's all linked to that concept of, you know, nightmares and, you know...
Yeah, I mean, Jack Skellington's from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a real spook. It's real spooky. I like the idea that it is like probably a fey creature.
Right. Yeah.
Whether or not they're affiliated with any sides in the Feywild, I mean, they seem pretty fucking dark. They seem pretty unseelie. But whether or not they're actually linked with the courts, I just want to know, like, maybe they came through one of the portals that was opened recently. Maybe it's a recent thing. But it feels like this has maybe been going on for a little while, like, because we've heard.
Yeah, it seems like they've had a lot of time. To work through all this stuff.
And the fact that they weren't at all. Like, I'd be surprised if it starts with rolling initiative at the start of the next session. I feel like it's going to be a conversation first, and I don't want to guarantee. That sounds stupid. I feel like there's going to be traps in this place, like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, this is a lair action kind of.
Oh. And with the Nightmare King, that sounds pretty legendary. Because, like, we obviously don't know. We can assume that this has been going on for a while. So, is that massacre that happened 35 years ago, is that linked with this Nightmare King individual?
Yeah.
Who knows?
What if this is like a Jeepers Creepers sort of thing, and they appear every 20, what was it, like 60? I can't remember. I haven't seen Jeepers Creepers in a while, but they appear every, like, couple of, or is that it? I'm getting my horror stuff.
Yeah.
Pennywise turns up every so often. But yeah, something like that. And that King turns up for a couple months, and so is Chaos. I just like it. It's cool. It's spooky, but it's the spooky that I can handle. Like the Somnovan body horror stuff, I was just a bit like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this is gross.
Yeah.
This is harming my brain.
Yeah.
But this is like, oh, spooky,
Yeah.
scary skeletons.
Spooky,
Like,
spooky mystery horror.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
That's
can
great.
deal with this sort of stuff. And I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. But it's nice that we're finally getting into the meat of things again.
Mm-hmm.
We have Gurge down here, so they can somehow free Gurge, and they can go full beast werewolf, maybe.
Yeah.
That could be
There was
nice.
There was a really fun comment too on last week's What the Sheet in the comment section. Someone suggesting that maybe Chetney is hunting Gurge, which is a very potential theory as well. I like that idea because it could be a reiteration of I see him there strapped to the table.
Oh my
like,
god.
I raised my knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be a return of that. That'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah, and Chetney's actually like a werewolf, hunter. Yeah.
But I like this idea that Gurge, you know, is helping Chetney with their transformation. Yeah. I saw someone in chat too just earlier, Michael Morningblade saying Chetney the werebeaver. Chetney might not be a werewolf.
Well, because that was something that we talked about last night during my pre-stream. We were like, what kind of, like, I think someone had mentioned that Chetney would be like the smallest werewolf ever. And I think Natasha had said he's not a werewolf, he's a were-chihuahua.
Oh. That's adorable. I do like the idea that it's potentially like a different lichen. Like it could be like a were-rat. Were-rat, cool to begin with, or like it could be like a were-beaver was funny. That caught my attention.
It works with the woodworking. It works.
That's good.
Were-beaver.
That's good. I like it. On board, 100%. I'm invested.
Chetney is a were-beaver. You heard it here first, everyone. You heard it here first.
Could you imagine?
I could see Travis doing that.
He starts to like transform, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's a werewolf!" And then like the transformation is like a beaver gnome hybrid.
Yep. Or Kato Dice is a were-woodpecker, also. Yeah.
That's a horrifying image. I am now 100% on board with Beaver.
Yep. Yep. That's got to be it. That'll be our unhinged theory of the night. That Chetney is going to be a were-beaver.
I love it.
There it is.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what do we hope for in the next episode? I do also hope for a conversation. I think there could be a lot of interesting things that this person could just have to say. Maybe involving Gurge, maybe involving Chetney. Like maybe this individual would be like, "There's something about you, Chetney." Like he doesn't. This thing doesn't know Chetney's name, but you have a similar gift as Gurge. It seems. I can sense it within you.
There's a lot to choose from with this group. You've got like Imogen, who's a hollow one. You've got not Imogen, sorry, Lorna, who's a hollow one. You've got Imogen, who has psionic abilities. You've got
Burn,
FCG, who is
from the Fae.
100%. You got like FCG, a living automaton. I feel like the only ones that are safe really are Dorian and Orim. They're just like, oh, we're just we're just dudes.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Ooh, that's a good point too. Candida says hoping they sleep. Like when was the last time they slept? How are they going with their abilities? Because they've used a few spells and
they've used some pass without traces. Laudna's burned the imposing presence. I think Orim used his gust of wind item
and his boots of leaping. I don't know how often he can use boots of leaping.
Yes. So they've expended some things. A calm emotions earlier, but I think they're still fine. I think they're still fine. I think because again, there's 8 of them, so I think they could, even if this individual is a higher level, I think they still could
Yeah.
take them on.
Because I feel like they're not, like, I don't see Chetney leaving without Gurge. So
No, yeah.
it's either going to be a turn of events where this creature gives them Gurge, or it's going to devolve into combat.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's going to devolve into Chetney stabbing Gurge in the chest. Who knows? Who fucking knows with Chetney and Travis, honestly.
It's actually amazing at this point how we don't even know what to expect from Travis anymore. But this just goes back to the beginning of the campaign where Marisha was like, all bets are off. You know, expect the unexpected, 100%. Throw all expectations out the window. This is going to be a wild ride. And still, every episode goes by, and that statement remains true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. I'm really excited for the next session. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's going to be the last one for a couple weeks. Because then the week after is the guest battle royale and Legends of Vox Machina. So yeah, exactly 2 weeks from today, Legends of Vox Machina. The first 3 episodes will be out.
Ooh,
coming
that's
up.
Exciting.
It's coming up.
I'm gonna have to avoid the Twitters beforehand because I know the backers are gonna be able to watch it just before, and yeah, gonna have to avoid any spoilers. I'm so excited. There's gonna be so much content. So like, I started video editing with AMVs, which like.
Oh yeah, I love AMVs.
Who didn't?
No shame.
But I think like, oh no, this is dangerous. This is gonna be animation of something that I'm really invested in. That I feel like I could probably do some editing with. But no, I'm super excited. The one shot also sounds really exciting. Because who do we have in that? We've got Sam DMing.
So it's already going to be chaotic.
Exciting. We've got Thera.
Yep, Thera Rai. We have Sprig. We have Neela.
Also incredible, like, because Sprig was what was Sprig's class? He's a question for everyone. What was Sprig's class?
Boy.
Were they a wizard?
Yeah, Kashaw's gonna be there.
Kashaw. I'm excited for more Wilfredell.
Oh yeah.
He's great. I can't remember what Sprig was, if they were a wizard or if they were a druid. I think they might have been a wizard. Arcane Trickster. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. A rogue wizard.
Rogue wizard. That's basically what you said. Yeah.
So we've got Firarai, so monk, rogue, druid with Nala. Fighter. Kashaw was a fighter. Yeah, Kashaw was a fighter. And there was 5. I'm trying to think. I'm not gonna look at chat. I want to figure it out.
Now I'm trying to remember as well. Maybe that was it.
I thought it was 5, not 4. Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, Kashaw's cleric.
Oh, Kashaw's a cleric. My bad.
Yes.
I said it with so much conviction as well.
Yes, Kashaw, the fighter. Tova, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Thank
Tova
you, Eugene.
Is a fighter. Is a werebear fighter. Alright. We know our stuff. Welcome to the podcast.
We talk about Critical Role here. We are the experts that you come to and rely on for all of the lore and shenanigans that happen.
Blood Hunter!
So,
She's a goddamn Blood Hunter, not a fighter.
I mean, that's close. That's close.
It's essentially, it's essentially the same.
The martial class, kind of.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a long time since campaign 1.
Yes, I get it. I know. Thank you.
We gotta be humbled.
Yeah.
Yep, we can't always. Yeah, Order of the Lycan. Could that be a reason why they brought Tova on? Just to put it in our minds? Maybe.
Because she was a dwarf, and she was a dwarf that turned into a massive werebear, which is really cool. Oh,
no, I'm excited.
She has Vax's Ring of Invisibility. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be absolute chaos. I love Sam as a DM. He's so funny. He really leans into the chaotic aspects of everything.
Yeah,
and is willing to just do it for the lulz. So
that's very cool.
definitely really excited for that. Definitely really excited for
Yeah.
Legends of Vox Machina. That's gonna be.
Gosh.
It's been like 2 years, 3 years in the making now ish. 2.5, 3 years.
When was their first announcement of it?
2019, I think. Early 2019.
Oh
Mid
god, that was 2
2019,
years
around
ago.
there.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, because maybe it was 2020. I don't think it was 2020.
No.
It was definitely
Because
2019.
oh god, it's time. Time moved.
It's weird.
forward.
It's weird. It's been weird. Time has been a very strange soup the past several years, but we're still trucking along, and I'm thankful to have Critical Role to keep us sane, keep us together in these very, very trying times. But is there anything else we want to talk about from this episode? There was a lot. I'm really interested in all of the Ashton lore that was dropped to us this episode. The origins of the Nobodies, the debt that he has to Gianna, the origin of his their injury, the magic that they have. We got a lot, but there's also still some, like, why is it this chaotic magic? What's going on there?
It was an episode of Lost. We got a lot of answers and even more questions.
Yeah. And I definitely feel lost at different points, but it's nice. It's nice that we have like set goals now, as I've said before.
Yeah,
it's nice
true.
that they're on like a good path. And I'm
Multiple
terrified
quests
of the Nightmare
before
King.
them. Oh,
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely terrified.
Ugh.
Name well deserved.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out what the fuck they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Like, and if they can be stopped.
Yep.
Because again, this might be a thing where it's just like, all right, well, peace, I'm out, back to the Feywild sort of thing. See you in 20 years. Like, I worry. Full stop.
Yeah. I just worry is all. There's just a
And
sense of
worry.
worry
Yeah.
in the air. But because if this is a homebrewed character and they're dubbed the Nightmare
feels
King,
like-
I can only
I mean-
imagine like what their combat capabilities could be. Sounds pretty terrifying.
10-foot reach at the very least.
Oh yeah. And let's also not forget their name is Ira. Could still have some
Angry,
loose connection to the Somnovum in a way.
God.
Maybe because the Somnovum are also very dream based. So
Indeed.
I don't know. I'm still until shown and proven otherwise, I'm gonna be on the loose Somnovum train connection.
How is it that we're into this campaign and we've got all these things happening and the fact that Delilah Briarwood is still around?
And
like
yes,
an
I've
afterthought.
forgotten. Yeah.
I remember that last time. I'm like, oh yeah, she's in this campaign.
Yeah,
What the
Delilah's
fuck?
back in some capacity. What the fuck is up
Like-
with that?
Yeah, it's a lot. This campaign is wild. And I'm excited for confrontation. I'm excited for heists. I'm excited for werebeavers. I'm excited for it all.
Excited for the anger of Shad, the
Yeah.
assassination attempts. Excited for it all. But
The friend of Shah Brescio that contacted Fox.
yeah.
Like who the?
And there's still theory. Well, I mean, I think the theories of the anger being Grog has died down because his name is Shad Brescio. So, but the friend could be.
The friend could be Grog.
Or
Or it could be like, I feel like if we're going to go for a reasonable expectation, my guess would be Callie Shorthold. That's going to be.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be my regular person guess. As in, like, my tempered normal guess. But my crazy theotic? Oh, far out.
Sure,
I can't speak.
yeah.
So, it's Grog! That's what I want it to
Yes.
be. Yeah.
I would be down. I would be down for that. But I guess with all that being said, is there anything else we want to touch on in this episode? I don't think so. I think we covered all of our.
It was a short episode, but
it was a very short episode, and Yet still, it felt very long with the amount of craziness that happened. Let's just hope that they got all of the bad rolls out of the way with this one, and that they'll be on top of it if combat ends up breaking out.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the last combat was against the wall, right? They haven't had proper roll initiative combat since then. We haven't seen Chetney in proper combat.
Nope. No, we haven't. So there's gotta be some reveals that Travis is planning. Give it to us, Travis. Come on.
Oh my god.
It's gotta. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. So on that longing note of more Chetney reveals, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. So as always, y'all, thank you so much for joining us for this wild discussion of beavers, beavers, and haunted towers, and Laudna just being fun, creepy as always. Thank you so much for joining us in the live chat. Thank you to everyone who's going to be watching this on the YouTube upload or listening to on Spotify or Anchor or wherever else this podcast may find itself. Thank you so much for joining us and showing your support. If you're looking to support us even further, be sure to follow us on Twitter at WhatTheSheepPod on Twitter. We post updates on when we're going live, and you know, it'll just keep up to date on what's going on with the podcast and all that stuff. So be sure to yes, be sure to give us a follow, and also be sure to join our Discord server. A link is also in the description below. It's a great place to hang out with other fans of the show, but it also goes beyond that. We have a Minecraft server. We have a bunch of other stuff going on, so it's a fun place to hang out if you're looking for some friends. It's great. So yeah, you can be sure to join the Discord server. As always, don't forget to love each other. Spread the love. Make sure 2022 is the year of love. We got to spread it around. The world needs more love in it, so yeah, make sure you're just spreading that love around. But most importantly, don't forget to love yourself. That is actually the most important thing you can do. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Drink some water, eat some food, get plenty of rest. I'm proud of you, and thank you for being here with us. So, all of that being said and done, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, day, evening, wherever you may be on this glorious earth. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.